Alright everyone, grab your time-traveling DeLorean and your orange bubble-down vest because we're going back in time to recap one of Hollywood's most iconic films, Back to the Future. We begin in 1985, where we are introduced to teenager Marty McFly, who lives with his mom, dad, and two siblings. His dad, George McFly, is kind of known as a loser and puts up with a lot of bullying from his boss, Biff Tannen. His mom, Lorraine McFly, is an alcoholic and kind of lives a depressing life. In the film, Lorraine explains that she met George after he was hit by her dad's car, and after they went to the school ball together, they decided to get married. Also, Marty has a girlfriend named Jennifer and is friends with scientist Dr. Emmett Brown, who we're just going to call Doc from now on. While Marty is with Jennifer at school, they both get Save the Clock Tower flyers, which talked about the clock tower that was struck by lightning back in 1955. One night, Doc tells Marty to meet him at the Twin Pines Mall at exactly 1:15 a.m. At the mall, Doc reveals that he has turned his DeLorean into a time machine, which only travels time once you hit 88 miles per hour. He says that the machine uses plutonium, which he had stolen from Libyan terrorists. Unfortunately, the Libyan terrorists show up at the mall and kill Doc. Marty jumps into the DeLorean and speeds away, reaching 88 miles per hour and traveling into the past to November 5th, 1955. Marty decides to use the car to drive back to his house, but sees that his neighborhood hasn't even been built yet since it's 30 years in the past. He then hides the car behind the billboard advertising the new neighborhood and walks into the main town. He goes into a retro coffee shop where he meets a younger version of George and Biff, and of course, Biff is bullying George. Marty follows George from the shop and sees him hiding in a tree using binoculars to look at Lorraine through her window. George falls from the tree and is about to get hit by Lorraine's dad's car, but Marty saves George and gets hit instead. Marty wakes up in bed, confused again, and being tended to by a younger version of Lorraine. Just like her story with George at the beginning of the film, Lorraine falls in love with Marty, and so Marty has to reject her advances on him a lot. After leaving Lorraine's house, Marty finds Doc and asks him for his help to get back to 1985. Doc says that because it's 1955, they don't have the right power of plutonium needed to power the car, so they have to use a lightning strike instead. Marty remembers the clock tower flyer, which said that lightning will strike the tower on Saturday, November 12th at 10:04 p.m. Doc promises that he would get Marty home, but also said that Marty cannot talk to anyone because he could change the course of history for the worse. Noticing his brother slowly disappearing from a photo he has of him and his siblings, Marty realizes that he prevented his parents from ever meeting when he pushed George away from the car. Now he has to find some way to get his parents back together. Throughout the week at school, Marty tries to introduce Lorraine to George, but because of George's awkwardness and inability to stand up to Biff, Lorraine just falls in love with Marty even more. Now falling to drastic measures in the middle of the night, Marty shows up to George's house in a radiation suit, proclaiming himself as Darth Vader and demanding that George ask Lorraine to the school's Enchantment Under the Sea dance. However, when George tries asking her, Biff gets in the way and Lorraine asks Marty to the ball instead. Now Marty's new plan is to almost take advantage of Lorraine in their car so that George can step in and stop Marty. But Biff shows up again, throws Marty out of the car, and then takes advantage of Lorraine himself. George shows up and opens the car, surprised to find Biff instead of Marty. Finally, George is able to stand up for himself, and using all of his strength, he delivers a punch to Biff's jaw, making him go unconscious. Marty then joins the band playing at the school dance, but begins to have some trouble since he is now beginning to disappear himself. Luckily, Lorraine and George kiss, bringing Marty fully back along with his siblings in the picture. After saying goodbye to Lorraine and George, Marty gives Doc a letter warning him about the Libyan attack at the mall. Later that night, Marty and Doc connect a cable from the DeLorean to the clock tower to provide the power for Marty to get home. Though they go through some issues, Doc is able to figure it out as usual. Right as the lightning strikes, Marty gets to 88 miles per hour and is sent back to 1985. He finds himself back at the mall and finds Doc alive. Doc actually ended up reading Marty's letter, leading him to wear a bulletproof vest that night to protect himself. Marty then heads back home, and the next morning he finds that everything has changed for the better. His family is much more wealthy, his father is much more confident, his mother isn't an alcoholic, and Biff now works for George as his car washer. Marty then meets Jennifer outside when out of nowhere Doc appears with a flying DeLorean wearing a weird futuristic outfit. He tells both of them that they need to come with him to the year 2015 to prevent their children's lives from being ruined, setting up Back to the Future Part 2. Well everyone, thank you so much for watching our 5-minute or less recap of Back to the Future. We hope you all enjoyed, and let us know what other movies you want to see recaps of, or if you would like to see the rest of the Back to the Future movies like this. Other than that, thank you again, and we'll see you in the next one.